Hey kids, have you ever wondered why everything in the D&D world is awful and always has been? Here's why. The universe starts off with this guy. This is Ao, and indirectly, everything from Marvel fatigue to the declining bee population is his fault, because nothing would ever have happened if he didn't make this. This is a Beatorial. It's the world where we live, except it's not, because it's 40,000 years ago and nothing is alive yet. Except these guys. Ao made them. Saloon, the moon goddess, and Shar, the night goddess. And they already hate each other. Also, bro, these two? Smoking hot babes. I don't think it's relevant, but every Wikipedia goes out of its way to mention it, so we are going to as well. Ao, being essentially the CEO of the universe, is going to do absolutely nothing of value and steal all the credit. It's actually Saloon and Shar who do the bulk of the work. They make the other gods and spirits and create life on a Beatorial. But wait, remember before when I said there was nothing? Well, it turns out there was. Out of that nothing came primordials. These primordials are ancestors to all elementals. They're insanely strong and they love the new world like Elon Musk loves Twitter, in the sense that they want it all for themselves and are going to completely f*** it up. The gods don't like them, and so both sides start killing each other. Welcome to the Dawn War. Everything, everywhere, all at once is completely f***. And this goes on for 6,000 years. A bunch of things die, and some new things are born, including the nature spirits of the world itself. Those spirits, using the willpower of the planet, like the actual planet, make something called the Primal Ban. With the strength of a Discord moderator, they kick primordials from the server. Now the only way any primordial can ever enter a Beatorial is if someone invites them in. It's basically vampire rules. The gods then make the outer planes for themselves, their simps, and their simps who kill people. And the primordials make the inner planes, including the Feywild, the Shadowfell, and the planes of earth, water, air, and fire. But now, it's time for the... So this era starts about 34,000 years ago. The world is one giant supercontinent called There are 5 main races of beings at the moment. You got the humans. We suck, and we will for a long time. There's Fae, ancestors of the elves. You got Saruk, they're kind of reptile people, ancestors of the Yuan-Ti, lizard folk, and Naga. There's Aerie, bird people, ancestors of all the other bird people. And then there's, what the Hello, we are the Batrachi. We are the Frogmen. We are going to war with the Titans. Let's get 'em, boys! Yeah! Yeah, the final main group of beings, Batrachi, are getting their asses kicked by the Titans. Because they're frogs! Fighting Titans! But then, the Batrachi had a great idea. To win the war, they can just invite the primordials back to the world to destroy the Titans for them. This idea was so clever that everybody died. The primordials are back, everything's on fire, and it's the Dawn War Part 2. Somewhere in the chaos of this war, a primordial called Asgaroth, the World Shaper, has kids. They're called Bahamut and Tiamat, and I'm sure we'll never hear from them again. Asgaroth also throws an entire ice moon at the planet. Women. Am I right, fellas? Finally, Ao wakes up and personally ends the war by splitting the world in two. Primordials get a beer, and everyone else gets Tauriel. And with that, we're into the Dawn Age! Okay, so remember those siblings, Bahamut and Tiamat? They are having kids. Not with each other, I hope, but also possibly. It was the olden days. Either way, those kids are the dragons that still exist in the world today. There are also giants now, and they have their own semi-divine leader, a dude called Anam, the All-Father. The dragons themselves are split between worshipping Bahamut, the metallic dragon of good, and Tiamat, the chromatic dragon of evil. This conflict turns into the Draco Holy Wars, which last for a few thousand years. Existence sucks, and basically everyone is a slave to the dragons or giants. Yeah. Even the metallic, quote-unquote, good dragons are enslaving people at this point in history. Eventually, the quote-unquote good dragons get sick of taking slaves and murdering each other and start something even more degenerate. Gaming. They invent a game called Zorvintal. It's basically chess, except it's insanely addictive for dragons. It's Flappy Bird meets crack cocaine. Around this time, the dragons also fight the giants in what is called the 1,000-Year War. Guess how long it lasted, you second screen watching mother. In the end, the dragons and giants vote to play a game. It's called Wario, by the way. Oops, wait, no, sorry. It's called Wari. Oh, by the way, whoever wins the entire war. The giants are represented by Anam, charm, and the dragons by the other evil dragon. No, not Tiamat. This guy is Garrix, Dragon of Fire. The game ends in a draw, so the 1,000-year war ends in a draw. This is what we call an anticlimax. Meanwhile, in the realm of Arvandor, there are some divine beings called Celadrin, who created the elves, and their leader is called Corellon. Oh, so many names! Look, this guy Corellon, he's got 2 consorts, okay? They're called Sehanine and Arashni. You don't need to know anything about them. The only thing you need to know is neither of them are currently a giant demon spider MILF. That is very important for the next part of the story. In the next part of the story, Arashni turns into a giant demon spider MILF after she tries to kill Corellon. She fails, and she's thrown into the abyss. She changes her name to Lolth, and she's now arguably the most powerful being in the abyss, which is kind of like hell, but it's not at all, because it's the opposite of hell. Honestly, that's a different video. Either way, Lolth's MILFy charm is so great that even having lost and being very clearly evil, she still manages to get a ton of elven followers. These elves will definitely not be important later. And then a meteor showed up and everyone started killing each other. Seriously, that's what happened. The King Killer Star makes all dragons go f***ing nuts. The dragon population gets almost totally wiped out in the carnage, and the empires of both dragons and giants fall. This leaves an opening for the elves, and the Age of the First Flowering. First thing that the elves do, now that they rule the world, is create the Dracorage Mythal, an enchantment that prevents dragons from ever threatening the world again. Then nothing anyone cares about happens for 12,000 years. Then the elves try to create a homeland for themselves. It kind of goes bad. The continent called Faerun shatters, and the whole thing is called the First Sundering. But I know what you're thinking. Where is all the genocide? Well, don't worry. It's time for the Crown Wars, which is a 3,000-year-long series of 6 conflicts between different groups of elves. The most important of these revolves around the Dark Elves, who are under the influence of Queen Spilth herself, Lolth. They decimate the surrounding kingdoms and slaughter everyone. This is elves. This is Lolth. This is elves on Lolth. The other elves start calling the Dark Elves Drow, which means traitor. They eventually beat the Drow back, who flee to the Underdark, so called because it's underground and because it's dark there. Look, I didn't make the names, okay? I'm sorry. Anyway, after all that, it's time for the Founding Time. The Founding Time sucks. It's 3,000 years of nothing happening. But then, you happen. That's right. It's the Age of Humanity. Welcome to the human kingdom of Netheril, which you might have heard of in Baldur's Gate 3. Netheril gets its name from the Nether Scrolls, 50 magical scrolls holding insanely powerful magic. The Kingdom of Netheril uses this magic to rise above all others, literally creating flying cities. For a very brief period, not everything sucks. But then King Karsus decides he wants to become the new god of magic by taking power from the current goddess of magic, Mistral. Oh, it doesn't go very well. Karsus fails, gets petrified, Mistral dies, and all magic ceases to function. Mistral then reforms herself, now called Mistra and with an edgy haircut, and restarts magic again. However, there were about 2 minutes without any magic in the universe, which was enough time for almost every flying city to crash out of the sky. Mistra saves 4 of these cities, which is actually kind of a baller move, seeing as we literally just tried to kill them, but the greatest human civilization has fallen. Mistra then creates a new rule. All magic of rank 10 or higher is banned. The most powerful spells, like Power Word Ligma and Summon Mind Goblin, can no longer be cast by mortals. And wow, that was a lot of consequences to the god of magic dying. I'm sure glad that's never going to happen again within the next 2 minutes. And with that, we've arrived at the Era of Upheaval! Hey, it's been a while. How's God doing? Good, he's still asleep. I wonder what happens if the gods Bane and Mirkrul try to steal the Tablets of Fate. That sucked. As punishment for theft, Ao kicks all gods from the outer planes and forces them into mortal avatars. Deities live among mortals now, which is just so embarrassing. Also, clerics need to be within 1 mile of their deity to access their magic, and a bunch of gods die. Chief among them is Mistra, you know, the god who literally just got over being dead the last time. Typical woman, am I right? With Mystra gone, magic goes crazy again, and the worlds of Abeir and Toril start to collide. Meanwhile, people become infected with the Spell Plague and turn into abominations. Finally, a mortal mage called Midnight steps in to become the new god of magic and stops the worlds colliding together. However, during the near collision, a few things change. Dragonborn, originally native to Abeir, slip through the cracks and now exist in our world. This doesn't change much, except nerds can now send you death threats on Twitter for asking if Dragonborn have tails. By the way, they do. AO pulls all the gods back to the higher planes. This is the point that 4th edition officially turns into 5th edition, and it's called the Second Sundering. And that's where you are. We are here, and here is right now. All the events of modern D&D adventures and the Baldur's Gate games happen in this age. But remember, children, history is just as uncertain as the future. There are many conflicting accounts of everything we just talked about. This is just one version of events, and the details vary from source to source. Also, I skipped a lot of things. Vecna, Tasha, demons, devils, genies, there's a lot more to know. But hey, at least now you know why everything sucks, and it always has. Today's lucky word was spilf. Like and subscribe, do the things, bye.